The Romans didn't just fight wars, they engineered them. Their army was a machine, every soldier a cog, every tactic a calculated move. They weaponized psychology, discipline, and innovation, turning warfare into a science. How did a city on the Tiber conquer the world? Not with numbers but with ideas, sometimes audacious, sometimes ruthless. The Roman legion didn't just defeat enemies, it broke them, erased them, and rewrote the rules of war. Today, we'll uncover the raw genius behind their tactics, beyond the Hollywood spectacle. We'll see how the Romans used formations, engineering, and sheer willpower to dominate. This is the story of how Rome turned brutality and brilliance into an unstoppable force. Prepare to meet the legionary, not just a soldier, but a master of the most effective and terrifying tactics in history. Picture a battlefield, arrows raining down. The Roman line advances, then vanishes, replaced by a living wall of shields, the testudo. Inside, legionaries are packed tight, shields locked above and around, forming an armored shell. Arrows thud harmlessly against the formation. The men inside can't see the enemy, only trust in each other and the discipline that keeps them alive. If one man falters, the whole formation is at risk. But they don't falter. The testudo isn't just defense, it's a psychological weapon. It moves forward, relentless, immune to panic. Enemies watch their best attacks fail, morale crumbling as the tortoise inches closer. The Romans used it to cross open ground, approach fortifications, and break the will of archers. It's unity, discipline, and patience, weaponized. How do you fight a wall that walks? For Rome's enemies, the answer was often, you don't. The testudo was more than a tactic. It was a statement, Rome would not break. And when the formation reached its target, the gladius did the rest. The testudo, the ultimate shield, and the ultimate show of Roman resolve. That's how you turn defense into dominance. If the testudo was Rome's shield, the wedge, the boar's head, was its spear. Imagine a V-shaped formation, a living battering ram aimed at the enemy's heart. At the tip, the bravest centurions, smashing into the line, creating a crack. The wedge pours in, splitting the enemy from within, turning a solid wall into chaos. Suddenly the fight is beside you, behind you, your formation shatters. Panic spreads. The Romans exploit the breach, turning order into a rout. The wedge wasn't for the faint-hearted, it was pure, focused violence, designed to destroy cohesion and morale. Rome understood, break the line, break the army. The wedge was the embodiment of Roman offensive doctrine, find the weak point, hit it hard, and tear the enemy apart from the inside. It was a simple idea, executed with terrifying discipline. The result? Battles won in minutes, enemies left in ruins. The boar's head, Rome's answer to any wall in its way. What if retreat was a weapon? The Romans mastered the feigned retreat, a calculated act of deception. Soldiers flee, luring the enemy into a reckless pursuit, their formation dissolving in the thrill of victory. At a signal the Romans turn, reform, and strike, catching the enemy disorganized and exposed. Hidden reserves slam into the flanks. The trap snaps shut. What looked like panic becomes a killing ground. This tactic demanded iron discipline. One slip and the fake rout becomes real. But Rome's soldiers trusted their leaders and their system. The feigned retreat, the ultimate battlefield con, turning enemy confidence into catastrophe. Gaul, 52 BC. Caesar faces a fortress packed with 80,000 warriors and a relief army on the way. Assault? Impossible. So Caesar builds a wall 11 miles long around Alesia, trapping the enemy inside. Then, hearing of the relief force, he builds a second wall, 13 miles, facing outward. The Romans are now besiegers and besieged, sandwiched between two massive enemies. It's a nightmare, unless you're Roman. The final battle attacks from inside and out, legionaries fighting on two fronts, held together by discipline and engineering. Against all odds, the Romans hold both walls, crush both enemies, and end the Gallic revolt. Alesia wasn't just a victory, it was a masterclass in military engineering and nerve. 2 walls, 1 army, 0 options for retreat. Caesar's solution? Outbuild, outlast, outfight. The world had never seen anything like it. That's how Rome won sieges and empires. War elephants, ancient tanks, terrifying and unstoppable. But the Romans found their weakness: pigs. Not just any pigs, screaming, burning pigs set alight and driven at the enemy. The elephants panic, stampede, and trample their own lines. It's bizarre, cruel, and brutally effective. Rome didn't care about honor, only victory. If that meant weaponizing farm animals, so be it. The squeals of burning pigs became a Roman signature, innovation over tradition, shock over sentiment. For Rome, no idea was too strange if it won the day. Roman discipline wasn't just about drills, it was enforced by terror, the most infamous punishment: decimation. If a unit failed, it was divided into groups of 10. 1 man in each group was chosen by lot and executed by his comrades. The survivors were shamed, starved, and left outside the camp. The message: fail, and your friends will pay the price. Decimation was rare, but its shadow loomed over every legionary. It made obedience absolute. No one feared the enemy more than their own commanders. This was the bedrock of Roman power: discipline, enforced by blood. The threat of decimation kept the legions unbreakable. In Rome's army, the greatest danger was never the enemy. It was failure. The Roman army was more than a force. It was a machine of discipline, innovation, and fear. Their tactics weren't just about winning battles but breaking minds, of enemies and their own men. Rome's legacy is a blueprint for military dominance, unity, engineering, and ruthless resolve. The principles of overwhelming force and psychological warfare still echo today. We've only scratched the surface of their genius. The legion conquered with sword, shovel, and sheer will. The echo of their marching feet is a timeless lesson in the brutal art of victory.